over these areas that are burned to the ground, you'll see in the midst of 20 homes that are just totally destroyed, one home sitting there because it had the right roof on it. Yes, and by the way, if you notice you fly over in a helicopter, those places with good roofs, they didn't burn. It's the right materials. Yeah.
Joe Biden's recent comments are alarming. The average person isn't supposed to know that the U.S. and Chinese military have been testing field-ready ground and space-based DEWs or directed energy weapons for at least a decade. Instead, we are supposed to sit down and shut up and believe it is a Jewish space laser conspiracy theory.
Can you tell me why so many people that support Donald Trump love conspiracy theories, including yourself, about Jewish space lasers? Tell us about Jewish space lasers.
Why don't you go talk about Jewish space lasers, and really, why don't you off? How about that?
According to the U.S. Government Accountability Office, directed energy weapons can produce force that ranges from deterrent to damaging to destructive. Many countries, including the U.S., are researching their use. Different types of electromagnetic energy have different properties. High-energy lasers produce a very narrow beam of light, usually in the infrared to visible region, and are typically used on one target at a time. The beam can be pulsed or continuous, generating a power output of at least 1 kilowatt. This output is 200,000 times greater than a typical laser pointer and is capable of melting steel.
These things pulse at different frequencies to optimize the damage.
Evidence of a CCP satellite over Maui is known.
There's 3 fires on the Maui Island. The first one that happened was on August 7 on the Olinda fire. That was a big one. And then what happened after that was the Lahaina fire. That was the nasty one that killed those people. And the third one was the Kula fire, which happened after the Lahaina fire. So there's three blasts and 2 satellites, basically. 3 shots and 2 satellites is just too much of a coincidence for it not to be a DEW, basically.
As is the phenomenon of lasers being unable to ignite the color blue.
And also the blue factor, too. I calculate this as a near infrared or near spectrum, and that's why it's not damaging blue colors.
That is overwhelming evidence that should be admissible in a court of law.
In China, the CCP now is just releasing data on their petawatt lasers. They're doing petawatt laser bursts on a laser that fits on a lab table. It's not a very big laser, basically, but when you have lasers of this energy, it's just instant damage. Very, very powerful lasers.
Some extraordinary damage in our state could be caused by hurricanes or tornadoes, and frequently when you see the aftermath of that damage, there's some semblance of a structure that is still there. When you look at the damages that have occurred here, it's just gone, completely gone.
And as we realize that the government is at the very least complicit, what makes you think that they wouldn't use DEWs supported by lawfare to drive people off their land, to cordon the population into smart cities in order to quicken United Nations Agenda 2030?